Welcome to another OTG video. My name is Roger, your narrator for this adventure. Today we're going to visit an older mod, the F-14A Tomcat, and put it through its paces. Here we are on the transient ramp at Lycia, the Fort Zancudo Annex remote complex in full view in the background. Our pilot is Commander Eva Ramirez, U.S. Navy in the foreground, and pilot Jessica Martin, U.S. Air Force, riding the back seat. We've been using a more structured test program now, so you get to see how each mod handles in GTA 5. We basically perform the same maneuvers for all tactical aircraft tested to see if there are any true differences in GTA 5's unrealistic flight meta. And since we've adopted this method, we've noticed that there are some actual differences. Even some of the characteristics of the real aircraft represented are loosely programmed into the meta, and some are ridiculously inaccurate and unrealistic, which is most of the time. This F-14A has the V-Func script, so the wings will swing back and forth depending on the aircraft's speed and angle of attack. The F-111, F-14A, and Panavia Tornadoes will have this added feature. The F-14D mod does not. It's operated manually. We will test that airframe in the next video so you can have a side-by-side comparison. This Tomcat is painted in the classic 1960s to mid-1970s colorful gloss gull gray over white paint, and carried the markings of the VF-1 Wolfpack Squadron, which is one of the first two operational F-14 squadrons that were based out of NAS Miramar and flew off the carrier USS Enterprise CVAN-65 on the airframe's first deployment in late 1974 through mid-1975. VF-1 and their sister squadron VF-2 actually flew combat air cover for the evacuation of Saigon in April 1975, signaling the end of the Vietnam War. Okay, Eva's gonna take off, pull into an unrestricted climb to our test altitude, and perform an Immelman to level off. Okay, you know the drill. A loop with the landing gear deployed using idle speed on the controller. If that works, we're gonna roll inverted and perform an outside loop. All right, cresting over the top. The F-35C stalled during its outside loop test, and we had to abort before the airframe departed flight. I was shocked when that happened, but that's why we test this stuff. We gained some more altitude and now going to perform some engine-out dead stick handling. As you can see, we just keep dropping like a rock, unable to glide level flight, even with the wings extended. You can get yourself in a lot of trouble dead sticking this airframe. We induced a flat spin and crashed. However, the game locked up and we lost that footage. A flat spin in a Tomcat usually meant ejecting in real life, and the mod didn't disappoint. Same thing happened here. The only thing you're going to be able to do here is point your nose towards your crash site. That's about it. As you can see, the aircraft is trying to go into a flat spin on its own, but we're trying to prevent that for the sake of video length. Now to check the roll rate of the airframe with the wings swept back at full throttle. Since this mod has V-funks, this won't be useful to test with the wing extended. We'll do that with the F-14D. And now a minimum radius figure 8. Japanese warship, the Kaga at anchor over there. This very large by comparison 4th generation airframe flies a larger arc than the F-35 family. Something to notice. To see how we're going to do with some jinking, it's going to get real for that V-funk script. This aircraft doesn't have too much super maneuverability, so we're going to let Eva freestyle some aerobatics. Okay, going to do another dead stick. We're going to let you see what a tail stall looks like. This can be a problem. This is what led to the flat spin in the lost footage, causing us to crash into Mount Chiliad. Let's see if we can prevent that. Pulling back on the stick to induce. Now we're going backwards. Time to abort lighting the engines. We're full throttle and still falling backwards. Going to try to change our configuration and transition into a forward dive. Eva pulls the stick full aft in an attempt to pull the nose backwards into the fall to gain some forward flight, gaining use of her control surfaces. Success! The girls didn't have to go for a swim. Today was a good day. And we're going to celebrate that with a Raton Canyon run. Eva making up for the lost time flying, being third in command of the 133rd, shining a desk seat with her ass. Command staff will spend more time administrating the squadron instead of flying. Finishing up, heading back to the transient ramp at Lycia, we're making room at Zancudo, avoiding the Rockstar editor blackout on the east side of the base, and Jessica has some FA-18E and F Super Hornet simulator time at the Zancudo annex next to the airport. Being a U.S. Air Force pilot, she wants to fly the front seat of the Navy jet. Jessica is the F-15 Strike Eagle and single-seat C-model subject matter expert in the 133rd. While Laney Jackson is the Wizzo expert for the back seat. We're going to be testing those as well at a later date. There's the post office workers taking a break in the fire department training prop. Los Santos City Fire Station 51 is just beyond that. That'll do it. The F-14 Delta is up next, and it's on to some U.S. Air Force airframes to mix it up a bit. See you next time.